All right, so we've had some time to go through and assess what the right steps, the appropriate steps are for guys that are coming in on Suboxone or, any of the other prescription drugs that are commonplace when you come out of rehab. So here's the process, right? You enter Simplify Sober Living. You are going to disclose what it is that you're taking in full, and you're going to work with the house manager in a capacity of showing him or her, when we get female houses, right? But you're going to show the house manager what it is that you're taking, what your prescription amounts are, and you're going to be held accountable to those amounts and those quantities, right? So if there's a pill missing, we need to know why. Where did it go? What happened? Did you take more than you should? Did you take less than you should? This is going to be maintained ideally under a lot of scrutiny between the house manager and you. You are never to hand them over to the house manager. House manager will never ask you to hand over your medication into their care to where they're giving it to you. You take it on your own. But as far as what you have and what's prescribed to you, the quantities, all that stuff is logged with the house manager, okay? So here's the other thing. The whole purpose and the goal of entering any sober living, but especially at Simplify Sober Living, we want you to have a spiritual awakening, all right? And then with that spiritual awakening, with that spiritual experience, which according to the big book is the solution, that is the cure to our problem, right? It's a spiritual malady that we have. Now with that, there's a bunch of emotional, mental, physical, spiritual elements that we address, we work through, but our goal is to provide a safe, comfortable environment for you to integrate back into society with. And that's what we've done. That's the results we've had. I've seen it over and over again. And I've also seen a lot of guys that don't make it. So we, at this point, have a pretty good idea of what it takes to make it and what it takes, what leads to failure, right? So entering a Simplify Sober Living, I can't speak on behalf of all sober livings. I'll talk about mine. Simplify Sober Living, it is expected that you, as we say endearingly, you become a badass. We want you to become your true potential, to discover what it is that you were meant to do, to become, happy, right? Trudge the road of happy destiny, as it says in the big book. That's my experience. It's what I do. I enjoy my life. I love recovery. I love sobriety. And you know what? I chose not to take mind-altering substances when they were offered as a prescription. Now, if you are taking it, some are worse than others. There's different scenarios. That's why we have a lot of flexibility when you enter. So, no judgment. We're totally flexible when you enter, but there is a hard cutoff time, and that's 90 days. Within 90 days of being in the sober living, you need to have a plan to get off on the long side. That's the longest side out. If not, no problem. You just need to start looking for another place, because clearly you need care that we can't provide you. That's what it comes down to. Or could be another scenario. You're just afraid of dealing with life on life's terms, right? Or you're incapable of it. It's one or the other. You're either incapable of it or you don't want to, right? And if you don't, then we need to get guys in there that are willing to do that, because at the end of the day, we are trying to get rid of all of the things that are stopping you from having a relationship with Source or with Spirit, with God, with your Creator, with whatever you want to call it. I don't care if it's food or an activity or a thought or a whatever. We are trying to clear that stuff out. And if you are actively putting things in your body every day that are preventing you from your relationship with God, with that thing, it's counterproductive to what we're trying to do here. It creates issues. So within 90 days, we want you off of that stuff. Now, we're not in a position to tell you should or shouldn't take anything. That's between you and your doctor. So you can take prescription medication as long as you want to with your doctor. But if it's past 90 days upon entering Simplify Sober Living, we need to start looking at, do you need care that we can't provide you? And we will after 90 days. That's what it comes down to, because we want you to have that spiritual experience. That's the goal of Simplify Sober Living. That's what I've done. That's what so many others before you have done. That's the results that we've had. The 12-step program in general, not to, my program just couples with that. So that's it. You're going to come in, you're going to work with the house manager in detail, what your quantities are, what your prescription is. You're going to get a plan to get off of this stuff, right? And you're going to look around. What I'm going to do, my part, is to ensure that you have a safe environment, that you're comfortable in, that you're safe, that you have everything you need to integrate back into society, right? That you have the fellowship and the support around you that you need to finally deal with life on life's terms and to have that spiritual awakening. And if you choose not to do it, if you're incapable of it, whatever it is, we really are going to assess that after 90 days, okay? That's the policy, right? And like with everything else, we have policies, we have framework. It's all case by case. We play it by ear. We do what's in the best interest of the individual and of the home and the program in general, right? We're always learning, always taking notes. So don't think at 90 days you're going to get kicked to the curb if you can't get off your Suboxone or whatever, right? That's not the way it is. But we are going to take a hard look at your situation after 90 days. And the ideal scenario is that you have already weaned yourself off of mind-altering substances. And even though it's prescribed, it's mind-altering. All right, that's the point I wanted to make. If you have any questions, let me know, or the managers will address it as best we can. All right? Thanks, guys.